where they strung up a man, whom they say he murdered 3. Strange things have happened there. No stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree.
Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Chris James. I interviewed Eric Bickernicks about his book that he had written called High Strangeness. The first 7 minutes of the interview, unfortunately, the audio was very bad. The rest of the audio was better, but it wasn't perfect. However, due to his living in Cape Cod and me living in Laredo and only having a few ways of doing this, I've decided we'll just go ahead and fix the show up as best I can and let y'all decide whether it's worth listening to or not. I personally enjoyed the interview. I enjoyed what he had to say, but y'all are the audience. Eric Bickernicks lives outside of Boston in Cape Cod, Massachusetts. It's an area called Buzzards Bay, but there aren't any buzzards there. It's other kind of birds. The people that named it, I guess, were confused. Eric has been a filmmaker his entire life. He does corporate editing and graphics, things like the After Effects and Photoshop. He had some success early in life with video shorts that made it onto national TV, shows like America's Funniest Home Videos. He wrote and directed what he calls his big fat failed indie feature, which was called Alternate Sex, but it was actually about dating in the 2000s. How people used to get online and they would try to contact each other. It was not an X rated movie. In fact, I imagine it was probably just PG. Eric wrote his first novel, Artifice, in 2016. He wrote High Strangeness in 2018. Lots of 5-star reviews. That is the book that we were talking about during the interview. There is a sequel to High Strangeness called Higher Strangeness, which is more about conspiracies and less about UFOs. Uh, Ken Wakeman is a skeptical ufologist who seeks the truth about paranormal phenomenon, and he struggles to discredit the myriads of crackpot theories out there. Melissa Mel Howard is a reporter for a small Cape Cod newspaper, and she copes with the seasonal tourist invasion and its accompanying anxieties. When the Cape Cod becomes a national focus on UFO sightings, they join forces to get to the bottom of things. Now, that is the intro to uh, Eric that I somehow managed to lose during the video. So I am going to add this to the beginning, and hopefully y'all will enjoy the rest of the show. So from this point on, it's the interview between myself and Eric Bickernicks from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Basically reality, and yeah, the first one. Yep. Yeah, no, it's I've we've been around long enough to see how the UFOs have changed over the time. Uh, and I want to illustrate it's basically folklore. And I'm not saying that aliens don't exist on some far off galaxy. That's a separate issue. Um, but yeah, I don't think they'll come here just to give us a rectal exam.
Uh,
And I just took all the major players and all like the major sightings. I had my yes, yeah, I don't have my old speaking notes with me, but yeah, a lot of it is inspired by that V-shaped thing
uh,
that flew over. What was it, eight years
Phoenix,
ago, 10 years ago?
Phoenix
There's a
Lights.
V-shaped. I forgot the name of the location. Phoenix
Yeah,
Lights, yes. And there's like two there were two sightings going on. One was obviously just flares that fell behind the distant
mountains.
mountains. Yeah, there was just a string of lights, but then mountains, but then there's a series of sightings that they said, yeah, these V-shaped thing, it had a series of lights the shape of a V that flew directly overhead. When we tracked it, we can say it came from there, went to here, went to
Hmm.
there over these counties. Um, and yeah, so I mean, that's like, yeah, that's like, okay, you can literally, a lot of cops saw it. They tried taking photos. Um, and yeah, I mean, that's an impressive sighting.
Yes.
Uh, and so I use that as sort of a basis of like, what if you saw those lights over Cape Cod,
Hmm.
and then how would people react? Um, and obviously it's aliens,
Well,
obviously, right? But um, and yeah, how how could you fake that? And then if someone faked that, what kind of hysteria would break out? And I'm basically I took a page off of the War of the Worlds
hmm,
broadcast with what's his face there,
Orson Welles.
Orson Welles back in the 30s, where the hysteria, yeah. So I basically had sort of a scenario like that breaking out over the country, over Cape Cod in particular,
Hmm.
um, and just sort of use that as an example of how people may react. And then the big reveal.
Oh, yes.
So I won't do a
No,
spoiler.
that would not be
Um,
good.
yeah,
For the folks out there who want to
but
read the book,
the right.
fantastic story. I was quite impressed. In fact, I had a hard time getting other things done while I was reading it. But yeah, that was you had to have the Fife
Good. All right.
Symington conference in there. I see that nonsense. That was when the governor of
Which one?
the governor came out with the alien
Which
head.
one? Which?
He had one of his
Yes. Oh, that's
uh,
I have again. That was a
uh
real.
oh, that's annoying. Good. It fit in with the story well. I must say that was what you would expect any
Well, I just
politician.
worked it in exactly. Right. Yeah, basically in the story, the local politicians are
Hmm.
making fun of the sightings, that you guys are just crazy, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
There is on the Cape Cod. There is an Air Force
Hmm.
base on here. So yeah, and another good characters. Oh, I see. I can't. What was his name here? The guy who claimed he worked at
Oh,
Groom Lake and saw the bodies. There's
yes.
a what's his name here?
I can't
And
remember.
he was
Yeah.
very big 20 years ago.
Oh,
So
that was based on a real character.
yeah, exactly. Old guy. Yeah. So,
Okay.
yeah. Yes, exactly. Because people really respect him. Oh, he worked at Groom Lake. He saw the
Hmm.
bodies, so he must know what he's talking about. Yes, one of the characters is sort of based off of him, which leaves people to veer
Hmm.
off in another direction.
Was
And the basic sort of premise is what?
I was going to say, was he the only character that was based on a real person?
No, there's a bunch, a lot of sightings. I can't say anybody in particular,
Hmm.
but just basically incidences where the sort of the big. Another thing is 2001.
Yes.
Remember when the apes basically touched the big
Hmm.
monolith, and then they got
Intelligence. Yeah.
smarter. Um, I basically, yeah, intelligent, and that thread goes through the second book.
Hmm.
Um, uh, and basically the premise is, what if we ignore what if we'll call it a monolith type thing were on Earth, but we didn't recognize it as
Hmm.
extraterrestrial. And the only thing that did was a dog, Astro, a golden retriever, and it interacted with the
Hmm.
extraterrestrials the whole time, and no one just completely
Yeah.
was oblivious to it. And then basically, this we'll call it an extraterrestrial monolith imparted great wisdom to a golden
Yeah.
retriever,
Just
and then we sort of follow his story.
just the person that needs it.
And and I use that. Yeah, so I use that in the second
Hmm.
book too. So right,
I also noticed you referenced Dr. Strangelove in there with the fluoridation of our water and uh,
of course,
Colonel
yeah,
Jack D. Ripper.
yeah, yeah. There you go.
I wonder what kind of movies do people
Yep,
watch
yeah,
today
great movie.
that is having that same kind of effect on
Right,
their lives? Because people I know, they grew up watching Doctor Strangelove. They
right.
watched the X-Files, Kolchak the Night Stalker,
Right. Right.
and it directs the way you're
Right.
going to
Yep.
go. I wonder what are people watching today that's going to have that effect on them. These dating shows, and it's like uh, I don't I don't
Right.
watch a whole
Not
lot of
yeah, not a lot. What
mainstream.
it
Too many TV shows on today that are like,
neither do I.
what the
I
heck?
mean,
Uh,
well, yeah.
I do get a kick out of Oak Island. That is,
What was interesting about the fluoridation thing? See, with yeah, the thing I was going to say about the fluoridation thing when as a kid, see, I saw the movie and I thought, hey, that Kubrick is pretty
hmm
funny. Giving this fluoridation conspiracy to the character. No, that was an actual
yeah,
real thing. He was just literally taking a real conspiracy theory about fluoridation and just gave it to the
mhm.
character. And basically, that's one of the things I did is like, all right, then I'll just take reality and just put it on to, assign it to a character. So that was kind of interesting that yeah, oh my God, they actually thought that was
What?
a real thing,
At the end of World War II, the U.S. military was studying
right?
the effects of small doses of fluoride on prisoners in camps because that's what the Nazis had been doing.
Right.
So there could be some truth to that particular conspiracy. Why do they fluoridate our water?
Well, I'm sure. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that yes. And well, it's proven that yes, the CIA was working
hmm
with LSD to see what it could do to
hmm
people. Blah, blah, early on. Um, then Timothy Leary ran with
It's
it. So, but yeah, I mean that's where yeah it started from. That whole
it's a shame there are some small conspiracies that are kind of clouding the water when it comes to the big ones. Uh, People think all the
right,
conspiracies, they lump them together in one pile, and it's like they're all the same without realizing that some of them, there's some,
right,
like, who did kill JFK? That thing about Oswald, it's like, well, the FBI proved he didn't do it. Just nobody listened to him. Well, what do they know? There was no burnt gunpowder anywhere in Oswald. So, how did he fire a rifle and not get that stuff all over him? But, well, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. You either believe,
right. Did they actually check it?
yeah,
Did they actually
they
right?
did swabs all over his body for nitrates and they never found anything.
Did it
Uh,
swap right?
so you can't fire a rifle and not get gunpowder on you.
I read I saw I found
What's that?
I f- I was I found a book a while ago about that. Someone claimed this I read a book someplace a while ago. At least somebody came out with a book about the second gunman was inside the
Well,
sewer shooting out
that was
from it.
uh,
I was like, well,
that was a bit of a stretch
but yes, you can
because,
toss your own right. Oh, so you actually know the
well,
author?
in order to
There
shoot
you
that
go.
way, your head would have to be sticking up out of the manhole cover because there's not enough room between the
Right,
gutter and the top of the storm drain. Unless the guy's eyes were
right,
mounted on the top of his head. Because in order to hold a rifle, there's no,
right,
well, somebody, it's kind of like when they said the driver turned around and shot Kennedy.
right,
It's like the grassy knoll. If you look at the video of all the people at Dealey Plaza, a bunch of them are pointing towards that fence at the top of the grassy knoll.
right,
And they're all saying the shots came from there. And then there was a
right.
railroad
Yeah.
yard worker who actually saw two men in the rail yard with big cases that looked like rifle cases. But of course, the Warren Commission didn't interview that guy because he
Yeah.
went against their theories.
um,
We're getting way away from your book, though.
Now, all right. So, but yeah. Well, yeah, yeah. There's plenty to talk about.
Maybe information for your next book. What kind of books do you read that get
Right.
you
So,
inspired?
well, yeah. Well,
Uh-huh.
nonfiction books, right? I don't read a lot of
hmm
fiction. So yeah, strictly nonfiction. Yeah, I've all any whatever. I've read all the JFK. So assassinations, all the UFO stuff. Um, yeah, not a yeah, not a lot of fiction. Um, but yeah, I mean, but interesting on books though, and as an example, and I sort of bring this up, and I've ranted about this to a lot of younger people here. That I remember back in the '70s when you read about UFOs, there were only like 5 books, right? I mean, there was the Lubbock Lights, and yeah, Barney and what's her face there,
Barney and Betty
the
Hill.
that whole thing. Um, Barney, right? Yeah, but there were literally about 5 books. When you went to the library, like, well, yeah,
Hmm.
that was it, right? And okay, um, and I remember it was always fun reading about them when someone had an alien experience because, oh, what was your alien like? I believe there's a movie called Fire in the Sky, which is based off
Yes,
another sighting, which those aliens floated
Travis
down.
Walton.
They had kind of elephant looking uh, feet, feet, right? I'm like, all right, well, that was cool. Yeah, that's it. So everyone had their own version of an alien back then because it was like, hey, that's cool. So there it is. Okay, look at that. He's got it right there. Bang,
Kind.
right. And I'm paraphrasing it because I'm just remembering from right. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I had
Right.
Travis Walton on the
So
show a while ago.
so I remember it was always cool. All right,
Uh,
cool. All right. So it was cool that like, oh boy, everybody has their own
mhm.
alien, right? Which went with the times where it's in sci-fi. It's like, yeah, you've got pointy aliens, you've got yeah, and it's over the time now. We've all settled on it's
Mhm.
grays now. The aliens look like grays. We no longer have fat elephant-looking aliens. Somehow they got together. Or, we won't even go there, but yeah, it's basically now we know what aliens look like. They look like grays here. Same deal. Like, do we know now? Do what leprechauns exist? No. Do we know what they look like? Yes. Yes. We've all come to the same conclusion of what a leprechaun should look like. Do we know what
Mhm.
Santa Claus exists? No. We know exactly what Santa Claus looks like. So I find it interesting that it's just okay. We all come to the same conclusion. Yep, aliens now look like that. I don't know where the other ones went, but they look like that. My theory here is growing up as a kid. I remember back the '70s,
Mhm.
Communion, right? The book was out, and it had that clear shot of the alien face on there. It was the late '70s, I think, right? And I remember it sat there at all the grocery store aisles for the longest time. You're checking out. It was, I'm sure
It's out
Communion's
there
back there.
somewhere.
He's got it right. Yeah, we got it. So I remember that, like you look at it, and go, okay, that's an
Mhm.
alien face, right? And that's close to the standard gray face, right? You'll notice that around the same time, Spielberg kind of went in that direction with Close Encounters, which was a right big deal. Yeah, there were the little ones that were kind of gray, like but the mother one, the big one with these gangly arms, really didn't look like a gray. But it was kind of there, and now we've all settled on no, they're grays. Yes, they look like that now, and obviously, through the '80s, the gray model was used in like the something file, X Files. So it's funny that as an old guy, I've watched it go from that to okay, now we all agree on what an alien looks like. Ah, that's good. Okay, good. Now we're there. Um, and clearly that illustrates like a folklore, right? That we're we're all getting on board on the same page here, whether it's true or not, whether it's actually what we're seeing that. Um, and that's a whole again, and that's a whole different argument whether actually aliens, yes, are out there someplace, but or whether they're actually made the trip and then actually decided to give us rectal exams, or if they need to be flying close overhead.
I had come up with a theory.
I'll cut that.
I'd
Yeah,
come
I'll
up
stop. Yeah,
a theory of
I'll stop
sorts
that.
at one time, and this was back when I had
Right.
actually talked to Stanton Friedman about it. The base of your spine, which is connected
Okay.
directly to your brain,
Right.
well, how's the easiest way to get to the base of your spine?
Okay.
So it was just a theory I'd come up with, and I asked Stanton Friedman what he thought of it, and if you've never met the man, he was he was not amused easily. He'd look at you like, yeah, what planet did you fall off? Every
Okay.
time I talk to Mr. Friedman, I somehow manage to impress him with my lack of knowledge. It was just one of these things. I've read
Right.
everything the man wrote. I watched his interviews. I listened to him on Coast to Coast. Then I'm actually standing right next to him, talking to him, and I'm like, duh. It's one of those. Felt like a complete idiot. Hopefully there were a lot of other people in the audience that took it away from me because that was uh, that was not my best moment. Let's just say I felt much better talking to Travis Walton about Fire in the
Right.
Sky. Living on Cape Cod, is that kind of a hot spot
Right.
for UFO sightings?
There was a major sighting. Oh, I would have to
Mhm.
dig up off the page here, and I have a link. Some author, yes, back in the 70s, 60s, I think, there was a major sighting done off of the major highway. I have it somewhere here. That he was a famous author, had a sighting, and actually I found the location on Street View, so you could actually see the spot. And he said that a light came across the horizon from there to there. So there's a Air
Mhm.
Force base on here, and it was very busy back in the Cold War time. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff flying around
Mhm.
over Cape Cod.
But it
Yeah.
wasn't. You didn't have groups of people sitting out on the beach with cameras watching for the mothership or anything like that. Hmm.
Yeah. No,
Um,
not that I've yeah. That's the one sighting that
mhm.
I found, that made the papers nationwide, or at least this guy was
Mhm.
famous and then promoted. Yeah, I saw this on Cape Cod over here going
Mhm.
from
Yeah,
there to
because
there.
at first I was always of the opinion that Cape Cod was a small, like an island, and then I looked at it on the map. It's like that thing is huge.
Yes.
Lots of towns on it. I thought it would be like Galveston.
It takes 3 hours to get from
Ooh,
Provincetown.
that's a lot of surf. Yeah, I think Gal.
Right. Yeah, no, it's 3 hours drive once you cross over
Hmm,
the canal. Yeah, once you cross,
dang.
yeah, there's
Uh,
a delay in the
that's
connection here. So
Facebook
yeah,
for you. Uh, I think they do it on purpose just to annoy people.
yeah.
They're trying to sell us something.
Right. But yeah,
Hmm.
it's a 3 hour drive to get from right. It's a 3 hour drive to get from one
Hmm.
side of it to the other, and then 3 hours back.
That's a big.
So yeah.
It's not even really an island, but I guess once they cut that channel in there, it made it an island.
No, yeah, yes.
Mm.
Tactical peninsula. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a peninsula. The thing. Yeah, the shortest way, if you want to go from Provincetown to Boston, the easiest way is just take a ferry
Ah,
straight across the water. Uh, an hour drive
who
or whatever, or
who
a
was
boat ride.
Jane?
I put a character in my second book
Ah,
who actually.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Yeah, no, I put a character, a quickie one. Someone in wanted to swim back to Boston, uh, and they jumped in the water, which you technically people have done that. That's a usual. I guess it's an annual thing where if you can swim from the end of Provincetown to the mainland, it's what is it, a 10, 20, 15 mile
No, thank you.
swim. But
I noticed on
it's
your
been done.
books it says you co-wrote them with Jane
Okay.
Brady. Is that your co-writer? How
Yes.
does it?
Yeah, that's the pseudonym for my
No.
Jan Brady. Yes, that is Jan. That's the name from Jan
Oh,
Brady, the Brady Bunch. That is the pseudonym for my college educated wife, or Wellesley
how
educated
does it?
wife, who was
Hmm.
basically my editor, who
Or does
makes me sound
she
literate.
actually write the book, or is she just like you can't say that
Right?
kind of thing? She edits it, or does she actually?
She's a couple. Yeah, she no she yeah she writes
Uh huh.
parts of the female. There's three main characters: the dog, the guy, and the girl. And
Uh
she
huh.
was doing the girl until she lost interest, and
Ah.
then I had to take over. So, uh, yeah, I joke with her that I will write a chapter up, and then I'll send it
Mm-hmm.
upstairs via text to have her edit it. and I joke that I send it upstairs to have it
Mm,
dehumorized, where she'll go, "No, that's not funny." Yes, it is. It's funny. It's like, "Oh, that wouldn't happen." I'm like, "Oh, come on,
yeah.
we're trying to be funny here." So I've had that argument a lot of times. That my
I
dehumorizer, yeah, did her thing. I have to go back
hmm,
and put the
I ran
joke
into
back
that
into
same
it.
problem when I wrote Flying Saucers Attack Walmart because my sense of humor, well,
Yeah,
my wife doesn't think I have a sense of humor.
right.
I did get a kick out of your cover art. That was fantastic.
God,
The
there you go.
the pie pan.
Right. Oh, so you obviously you got
Yeah,
pie
that's what I
pan.
used.
Yeah, that was a big deal
It-
back in the day. If you want, right there, yeah. If and I specifically needed to
oh,
find a pie tin, which I had to find on eBay because they're not everywhere. But that was a
hmm
retro pie tin by I think the company there was a company here in Boston that made pies. And yeah, and if you need to make a UFO, you just
hmm
fling the pie tin, took a picture, and
no,
there you got yourself a UFO.
reminiscent of Ed Wood.
Kind of, foreshadowing what was going to happen in the book. Right. Oh, love Ed Wood. Yes. Yeah. I can relate very much to Ed Wood as a filmmaker who's just, yep, no one cared. Yep, I threw my heart and soul into my movie, and it
Mhm.
just dies.
That was
Yeah,
he was a hard
yeah.
director to follow. Cause I mean, you had to watch his movies, but at the same time, it was like, oh, holy cow! Could they at least have gotten the cab of an airplane for Plan 9 instead of just those two guys sitting in the? Oh, but hey, it worked. He made money. The guy made more. He'd never lost money on a single film he
Right.
made, which is
Well, yeah. Well,
Mhm,
yeah, if you make it cheap enough. Yeah, so I'm not sure how far he actually, yeah, got money out of it. Well, actually, no, I think they did release it, right? So yeah, it wasn't like his own personal release. Some little studio did
mhm.
send it out to the drive-ins, right? So,
It brought in
yeah,
cash, and
wish
oof,
I had a little studio to help, yeah, push it. So,
yeah, that was yeah. A
yeah,
lot of folks today they'll look at the pie pan and go, "Huh? I don't get it," but they don't go back and look at the old movies, the old videos.
okay, right, all right.
Yeah, I had to find a pie pan,
Now interesting that
but this delay is terrible.
right. Okay, no, what was I gonna say? Yes,
Uh-huh.
there's a huge delay here. We're struggling with. One of as an artist, whether you're a filmmaker or author or whatever here, I'll give Ed Wood that he was communicating how he
hmm
felt. I mean, this whole transvesticism thing,
Yeah.
he got it into a movie.
Yeah.
He got it in, and that's what as any artist. I hate to use that word here as if like it's important to something, but yeah, your choice is either I can either do another book about a
hmm
dragon. That's a smart idea, which I've now come to is just give
hmm
the people what they want, which is detectives, vampires, zombies, and dragons. But I'm not into that. I read
hmm
nonfiction. I read the real things that are happening. And yeah, I was inspired by that. So I'll give kudos to Ed Wood for doing what he
It
believed
took
in,
some guts.
even though it's
That was
dressing up
weird.
as a woman. So yeah,
Well,
right,
anyway,
yeah.
there are some. It
Well,
almost seems like it takes that kind of person to create something that nobody else has ever done before. You don't see normal. Yeah, go
well,
ahead.
can I just jump in? Yeah, no, okay, yeah. So I picked a really lousy genre to write to, which is skeptical fiction, where basically I ran straight into the true believers. All the one stars are on the first book are like,
Yeah.
this guy's making fun of us. Grays are actually exist. Man, I'm like, well, okay. So yeah, no, if you want to make here's what I learned. If you want to make money in the UFO sector, no, yeah, just go with it. Yeah, no, there's UFOs and aliens everywhere. There's conspiracies
hmm
everywhere. You will sell books if you're promoting it. If you're pushing back against it, oh boy, no, yeah, there's no money there. Yeah. So yeah, I've learned my lesson. I'm just yeah.
Well, it was a good book. I enjoyed it.
But again, I wanted to express at least I want to get out, right. Well, I like to think that as a filmmaker, see, I'm taking my I'm an editor by trade, so it's fast, fast. What I want tempo. I want stuff happening. Is this interesting? So I have experience in that, and that's what I was trying to put in there. The literary types also pushed back, like, no, 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 no. You need to have chapters of background and blah blah blah. Like, yeah, no,
Mhm.
I don't do that. I'm a filmmaker. I want to get to the point. I want to, so I'm hoping that people will enjoy that aspect and not just pull back. Well, no, no, there's years of literature that you have to
Mhm.
somehow defer to if you're going to write
What
something.
do
I'm
they
like,
what do they
all
call
right,
it? The Hollywood
yeah,
script, I think it is, where the hero has to come from a broken family. Nobody understands him. He meets some beautiful girl who just happens to be a
yep,
princess. It's like Star Wars, Harry Potter, and a bunch of other
right,
movies. It's the same story over and over and over.
yep. Heroes,
Uh, I don't. Yeah,
the hero's
it's
journey.
like
Yes, that's yeah, is what
who
it
came
is.
up with the idea that that's what everybody needs to read or watch? Makes no sense.
Well,
Yeah.
apparently it sells. So if Hollywood's just gonna wants to give you what
Hmm.
humanity wants, I'm like, okay, that's what it is. And on that note, just that every 20 years we have a new
Mm.
fresh generation that hasn't seen the old movies, hasn't seen the old or listened to the old songs or books or whatever. So yeah, there you go. Just make another one. There's a fresh batch of, also there's also a bunch of fresh batch of ignoramuses who just like we spent 20 years trying to convince those people what's rational, and then you get a fresh batch coming in. So like, yeah. So yeah, screw it, sell them and you sell them the same thing, sell them the same jokes. That's
I
where
see
money is.
a guitar in the corner behind you, which makes me gotta. I have to ask you this: The Dark Side of
Right.
the Moon and The Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
Have you seen it?
Okay. Well, I've yes, I'm quite familiar with that. Yep, yep, yep.
What do you think?
It's yep.
Is it a coincidence from beginning to end?
Yeah, obviously.
No.
Go ahead. Oh, what do I think? Uh, yes. Well. See, all right. See, yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, it's an editor, I've done a lot of this where you plunk down the audio track, and then you'll be surprised the beats that line up. And I've spent a lifetime doing this. So yes, that's and yes, there were some good ones in there that
Perfectly.
line up. But yeah, but I'm sure there was some stone guy who just happened to have the record on. He started the record, and then the Wizard of Oz came on, TV or something, and like, wow, man, yeah, just I can certainly see that happening here.
I've watched it a couple times, and I'm still on the fence as to whether they did it on
Right.
purpose or not. It's too big of a coincidence, and I don't like coincidences.
All
It's
right.
one of my favorites.
So you're saying that Roger Waters sat down, right? So
Yeah,
you're saying Roger Waters sat down and said, "Okay, we got a new album here. Like,
yeah,
wait a minute, let's put on Wizard of Oz, and this is yeah,
yeah.
and then we'll
Like I said, it's
just
one of
okay,
my favorite
right,
things.
yeah,
I'm probably wrong, but I still
right,
like to think that that's what happened. Him and
okay,
him and David Gilmour were sitting there watching The Wizard of Oz, stoned out of their brains,
right,
and it's like, hey,
lined it up,
we need to put music to
right,
that.
right, okay, right,
It makes as much sense
right.
as a lot of things that happened back then.
Well, yeah, well, there's so many other movies you could have
Yeah,
picked too. It's
it does line up
right,
perfectly, though.
right,
Hmm. That was the folks, one or two people out there
right.
don't
I've
know what
yep,
we're talking
found it.
about. If you listen to the album Dark Side of the Moon and you watch The
Okay,
Wizard of Oz at the exact same time, it's almost like the music
right.
that goes to the movie. And even I've heard David Gilmour and Roger Waters have both come out and said, no, we didn't do it. It's like, yeah, like you'd admit to it. It's one of those. It's one of my favorites. Yeah,
They're on the grassy knoll. There's an right.
it's one of those things. You
Yeah,
don't read a lot of fiction, or
yeah,
you don't
it's a good
read
one.
fiction at all.
Right.
You just don't read any.
Yeah, no, not a lot. I
Uh,
mean, like Michael Crichton, love. Yeah.
mm,
Well, I'm just too busy reading nonfiction. But yeah, no, like Michael Crichton. Yeah, love Michael Crichton. Yeah, I've gone through all that, and it's funny how that he. A lot of literary critics are like, well, no, he's not writing correctly here.
hmm
That no, you need to, let
Same
me
problem I
correct that.
have.
But yeah, I mean,
Hmm
I love Michael Crichton. Yeah, Michael Crichton. It's straightforward. He's not trying to be poetic. Somebody had a post somewhere he has a whole like method story wise of like, yeah, usually you start with a scientist, the girl is there,
hmm
it blows up, they have to overcome it. Usually it's the evil, you know company that overlooked whatever was the pathogens.
Oh,
Yeah, he
he
made it.
also wrote the
It
13th
worked for
Warrior,
him. Just pump it out and
the Viking movie.
right.
No, that
Is
was
yeah,
the.
is that a new one? I forgot. Yeah, okay, right. Oh yeah,
But
then he
yeah,
did the
he Michael
directing too.
Crichton
Yeah, yeah.
has gone in a lot of different directions. He doesn't do just sci-fi. He doesn't do just medical thrillers. He did a
Right,
detective story. So yeah, he's all over the place,
right,
which
right.
makes him for an interesting read.
Yeah,
Unlike some people that just write the same
yeah,
book over and over.
yeah, yeah. Nope, yeah, so there you go.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Hmm.
But as I've lost my what's the word here?
Now,
Yeah, no, if it works, just do it. At this as a 61 jaded year old author, like, yeah, if the lever is working, oh yeah, you need, because I'm not well off, so yeah,
mhm.
I want my little lump, I want my little house in Hawaii to move to. So yeah, I'm gonna, yeah, just it ain't gonna
Oh,
be through selling skeptical fiction, making fun of
mhm.
the true believers.
Have you written any,
Nope.
or have you considered looking into any nonfiction of your own? Researching a story,
Yeah, uh, yeah, could,
it's a lot of work.
um, yeah. No, yeah, exactly, precisely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, I've got, yeah. I'm going low. I am going. There you go. I was considering like, what, all right, romance. Okay, could I handle romance? I was like, no, I can't. I just, but yeah. So yeah. But I'm 60. I got 20 years left. If I'm going to get my house in
Mhm.
Hawaii, I need to come up with something that's, yeah, that 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 that's
You
a
never
little
know what
high.
will sell.
So yeah, and yeah, I freely made it. I have a pretty good idea now. It's not what
Yeah,
I normally do, but yeah, which is basically,
I'd
yeah,
started out writing
nonfiction.
just fiction, and I discovered real quick when I switched over to nonfiction, that's a lot of work.
Yeah,
Uh,
right, right. Well, you can cheat with Chat GPT now, right? Which is supposed to be yeah, it's a no-no from Amazon. Uh but but yeah, that's their Amazon's biggest fear is you can just hit the
mhm,
button and out squirts, a kind of true, mostly kind of true book
mhm.
that's not, yeah, you're not researching it. So
No,
yeah.
a lot of researching.
So why do you have another, are you doing, so where are you heading? Are
But
you doing, yeah, so are you doing
mostly nonfiction
fiction or
here
nonfiction? Which
lately.
way are you gonna go?
Simple. It was an accident. A friend of mine
Right,
needed a book written about his paranormal group, and I thought, well, I can write.
right,
Put words on a page. How hard could it be? And
right.
boy, a year later, I was
Okay.
sitting there going, "That's a lot
Right.
of work." I swore I'd never do it again. I'm on my fourth book now.
Yes.
I got sidetracked with what I was going to ask you earlier.
Right.
Your
Yeah.
inspiration
No.
for writing. Do you sit at your desk
All right. Go ahead.
and wait for the story to write itself, or do you actually go out, drive around, look at places, and try to absorb the atmosphere to put it into the book?
Google Street View. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Yes. Yes. It's so much easier if you were there. I can visualize. Okay, that's over there. This is here. The characters may move into there. Oh yeah. No. I on the
Mhm.
first book day, I went out to the certain areas that I was writing about. Yeah, and just went out there and okay, let's look at it. As example, oh yeah, as example, there's a scene
Mhm.
where there's a state fair, Barnstable County State Fair happens here on the Cape, and I went there going, all right, if my character is here, what does he see? And and that's where I came up with one character works just
Yeah.
selling windows, window install Anderson windows. Right, it's the most boring thing. It at the carnival is a guy trying to hawk Anderson windows, and so I said, yes, I want one character just that's his life,
Mhm.
selling the most boring, mundane things. So yeah, it's so much easier when you're actually there and you can visualize it. The next step is if I'm writing about something that like, well, I
Mm.
haven't been there, but Google Street View. You can plunk yourself down in Google Street View, like, okay, so it kind of looks like this kind of feels like this. Um, but yeah, no, it's painful. No, uh, I'm a visual. My thing is I'm a filmmaker, so I visualize things, with my visually. I am not poetic at all, or I it could care less about poetry, which bugs the wife. And I'm not trying to communicate in a sort of poetic. Oh, the words are beautiful. No, I'm Michael Crichton. I just get to the point and,
Mhm.
get the concept across. But no, yeah, and I joke that if I think she's probably dead, but my middle school English teacher, if you told her, by the way, that kid Eric there is going to write 3 novels, she's like, no, yeah, no, there's no way in hell
Oh yeah.
that kid is going to write 3 novels. Yeah, I would, yeah, I just, yeah. So it just took 40 years to get at least competent at this, and then
Mhm.
I have backup help through my Wellesley educated wife here. Uh, but yeah, no, right. Oh yeah, there's so many accounts of people saying writing's hard. Yes, no, it's literally, yeah. um, like I said, it's especially painful for me. I will, literally each sentence, I'm like, I don't know, is this, yeah, where you hear about people like, oh, I just typed, oh, I typed up 2,500 words today. It's like, and I'm dying to go, were they good
Yeah.
words? Did we, what did you communicate in these 2,000? Yes, I can do that. I can type 2,500. I'm a fast typer. But if you're just stringing cliches together, okay, sure, all right. If you want to, write a novel about Professor Plum killed the maid with the candlestick in the kitchen, like, sure, yeah. I'm trying to come up with something different, and that's yeah, and there's my
When you
problem,
started a book, did you know where the story was going to go, or was it just like
right?
I know the opening scene and that was it? Or did you kind of have an idea how it was going to go?
Yeah, no, I'm as a yeah, in that term there is are you a pantser or are you a plotter? Where some most people are pantsers, where they just start at the beginning and just okay. Imagine my character goes off and circles around here. I'm a filmmaker, so no, it's plotted. Every single chapter is plotted out. The ending death before I even try to write because it's so painful. I want to know, this ending is going to work. Yeah, baby. I want to, and this is what compels me. Oh, this is a good ending. Yeah, this is what keeps me going. So because I know I nailed the ending. Now this could take, years of thinking. I know Michael Crichton said that, yeah, sometimes he's got ideas that he likes, but he's not going to start on them because he doesn't have the landing. Um, so and then that's the hard part is just working on the landing. um yeah, and then once I got the landing, like, oh yeah, baby, now it's just backfill. How do you get to the landing? So that makes it much easier when you're sitting there at the keyboard going, oh the god, this hurts. Oh, did I okay, does this sentence make even any sense
Mm.
here?
All righty.
uh So yeah, torture. I'm like I said, I'd rather film it. I would, yeah.
Have you
But yeah,
considered grab a camera, get a couple of out of work actors, which that's most of them, and just say, "Hey, let's see what we can do out here on the beach."
I
Mm,
yeah, no, I already did that. Already did that, right? So yeah, they were my friends, and it yeah failed miserably. What was interesting is like I said, I took the first book knowing as I was, it could make a good
mm,
script. I turned it into a script, which was hard, especially hard. It's a novel's typically like 60,000 words or so, and I know a script typically is 20,000 words, and then and I thought it'd be fairly easy. Like, yeah, I'll just knock off the script and I'll send it off to the academy and submit it. But it was surprisingly hard it is to take, think a 60,000 pile thing
mhm.
that you wrote and boil it down. Yeah, you really got to be just vicious at it. Um, and this is still pre-planning it as if this could work as a film script. You just got to slash at it. So I can see how, yeah, if you're trying to take someone else's book and convert it into a film script, yeah, you gotta be brutal on it. But yeah, no, I'm well pa no, I'm not gonna lug cameras and yeah, I'm 61. I'm getting too old for this ship. So yeah, no, I'd rather write it. I like the idea. Yeah, I've
Well,
seen a
that's when
younger
you get a bunch
person
of
do it.
teenagers and you say, "Action," and you just sit back and film them. If
Yep,
only it were that easy.
yep. There you go. Ah, it means we're exactly, yeah. Yeah, I've done it. No, that's my
Mm.
job, right? I
Have you
know
started
exactly
on
how hard it is.
number what would it be number 4 book yet, or do you have any plans for it yet?
Uh, yeah, oh, well, obviously, well, there's highest strangeness, there's higher, and now, so obviously highest strangeness, and then when you do a book as I'm doing it, typically if you putting stuff out on Amazon, you want 3 books. Just you give them the first one, and then you make, or hopefully
Mhm.
they're compelled to buy the next two. Yeah, so highest strangeness. I'm trying to think, what do I do with highest strangeness, right? And I'm trying to even make it more weirder as we go along. One idea I had was kind of take
Yes.
the contact. Remember Jodie Foster in Contact? Contact. I'm thinking like, yeah, maybe I'll just send them out into mentally into outer space, and yeah, I'm not sure. Hammer on religion kind of a thing. Yeah, so I have a
Mm.
concept, but we'll see if anybody cares about the second one. Um, but yeah, highest strangeness should be pretty weird
Huh.
if if I ever
You're
get
gonna
to
have
it.
to throw
If
some
anyone even
ghosts in there
cares to see
somewhere
it. So
because you
yeah,
didn't really go into the ghosts in the
right.
first one. You gotta touch all
Oh
the
boy,
bases.
yeah, yeah. Well, like you say, maybe yeah.
Mm.
Yes, yes. I got and a dragon. Got to have a
What's
dragon in
with the
there.
dragon?
Uh,
Ah.
which reminds me of a story here, which is still as an author. Again, this is me whining. So, all right, fine. But yeah, but recently, or a couple years ago, when I was doing the first book, um, there was a book fair up in New Hampshire, right, where basically all us authors went up there with our table and a
Mhm.
little stack of books. We had our pen, and we were local authors, and people came down there. We're trying to help, other local authors, right? And I'm thinking, okay, this is great. I wrote a book about Cape Cod, so these people have been on Cape Cod. And certainly they would relate to, okay, really, it's a sci-fi book about Cape Cod. You live here in Massachusetts,
Mm.
are you interested? Nobody cared. No one cared. The guy next to me wrote a book with dragons in it. And the time Game of Thrones was out, he sold 4 goddamn books. No, these people had no idea who he was.
Mhm.
Oh, it has dragons. Okay, I'll buy it. And I'm sitting there going, oh God. So I wrote about it in a blog post going like,
Mm.
I really should have had dragons, God damn it. And he saw my blog post. He thought it was just funny, just like, yep, yeah, dude, you got it right. I needed dragons and I could have maybe sold something. Yeah.
Mm. Oh,
So I've
and
learned my
some
lesson.
ghosts.
Yes.
Ghosts and
Dragons, right.
dragons. Ah,
Ghost.
the
Put
ghost
put
of
them
a
in the title.
dragon.
Right. Yep. Vampires too.
Having written some
Vampires too. Got
books, do
vampires.
you
Right.
have anything you'd like to say to any guys, girls sitting out there looking at their computer trying to figure out how am I going to get started writing a book?
Hmm. Age. And I remember reading this someplace. Some of the I forget who famous author said, but go out and live, um, and then write something out versus just doing something derivative. Yeah, if I was incapable of
Hmm.
writing these books when I was 25. And I remember reading that quote from somebody, I forget who it was, but it basically just says, go out and live. And then when you have experience, then write about it. Um, and that's, yeah, because I mean, young people that, yeah, I mean, I was derivative. Yes, you just mimic what you're seeing here. As an old guy, like I don't care what you think of me. I don't care. I'm writing it. I am expressing myself here. I'm not catering to an audience. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's one aspect. The other thing is which you damn young kids of today have social media. Yeah, even though no one cares that you're 21 years old and no one's going to read your book. No one cares, even if it's derivative. So what? You'll have decades to get an audience, and you'll never have to approach a, a publisher, the gatekeepers. And I vowed off of those guys. I sent the first book out to many gatekeepers, and yes, I completely agree with them. Who the hell's going to buy a skeptical book about set on Cape Cod about UFOs? No, does it have a dragon? No, go away. I sent out 100 to those guys, all rejected. Fine. So the point is, as I can see, is if you really want to do this, yeah, it'll yeah, you'll get an audience. It may take you 20 years. You'll have an audience. You'll never have to go to a publisher. Never
Hmm.
have to have a gatekeeper. Um, you know, just what's the word here? Justify your existence here. Yeah, just do it because yeah, you'll just be around so long. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I know that guy. You wrote a new one. What is it? I got 20 years left. So, whoops,
Mm.
roughly as an 80 to 60 to 80-year-old.
Well, that was
So yeah,
why
I need to
I
get cracking.
went self-published, is I didn't want to have some editor telling me I needed to change my work. It's like, no, it's my work. You want to change it, you write your own book.
Right,
So I went with the self-published, and
right. Yep,
it
right.
doesn't
All right.
sell millions
There
of
you go. Yeah,
copies, but
concur.
I
Right.
didn't expect it to in the first place. So we're looking for higher strangeness to hopefully come out this
Right.
year, next year. Highest,
Well,
yeah.
highest. Well, higher strangeness is out. The second
Uh-huh.
one, highest strangeness, highest. I need to just zing. Yeah. So I'm trying to like, how? Yeah, I need to go highest.
Mm.
I'm like, all right, what's the highest I can go here?
Oh, you haven't started yet.
So yeah, I'm still pondering that there. At the same time, I'm going low. I'm. Oh yeah, yeah. No, just this. It's just yeah, pondering phase here. I am looking forward to going low, the opposite direction,
Hollow
up
Earth.
until that when I go there, because there are
Mhm.
self-published people on Amazon selling a
Hollow
lot of
Earth.
books.
You can't get
The
much
what?
lower than that. The Hollow Earth
Delayed.
theory. Oh, you
Okay, what's
yeah,
Hollow Earth? Or yeah, I know. Yeah, that Hollow Earth theory.
hollow,
Why is there a
but it's
market for
low.
Hollow
You
Earth
can't get
books?
any lower.
Okay. At least that's a testable theory, isn't it? I mean, so
Just a
you could
thought.
just yeah. There's a phrase in science that it's not even wrong if you can't
What's the
disprove. Yeah, yeah. No, I was considering
romance
romance.
in
Like
the Hollow Earth?
yeah.
Yeesh.
There you go. You
Well, I do want to thank you for being on the show. Uh, it was a bit of a trial trying to get the delay to ask a
Okay.
question and have you hear it and answer it without sounding like we're
Right.
speaking two different languages. Unfortunately, that's how some of
Right.
these high-tech gadgets work.
Right.
Shih Tzu?
That's
Oh,
yeah. Yeah. No,
they look
Brussels
they
Griffon.
look the
That's this
same
is
to
widget.
me, but I'm not a
Widget.
dog
What's going
person.
on? Okay.
I have
Okay.
cats. I have a dog, but I have cats.
Right. Yeah. This is more deformed. This dog is more deformed.
Hmm.
Yep. I had a Shih Tzu too. This is we wanted to go even more deformed. Oh, hold on, Georgie, come here. Georgie, come here. Georgie. Hold on. See, and then we got the young one here. Hold on. See,
Yes.
you'll see these dogs on the website if you go to the Facebook page. Okay. Right.
Hey,
Whoops. What
that
do we
and your
got?
bizarre glasses.
All right. Oh my god. Right.
Mhm.
Matches
Well, like I said, I
the
wanted to
book
thank
cover.
you for
So
being
yeah.
on the show. It's hopefully this sounds a lot better once I put it out on the
Okay.
platform. The delay is kind of driving me nuts, but that's modern technology. For some odd reason, they can do
Right.
things
Right.
which is incredibly bizarre, and at the same time, talking to somebody who's in the same country, and it's almost a quest of sorts. Alrighty, well, I am going to let.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
uh
I think we're old enough to
Go ahead.
realize. Right. Yeah, no, I think we're old enough to realize that yeah, long distance phone calls were expensive back in the day. It's like, wow, you actually talked to
Mhm,
somebody, on the West Coast. Ooh, that must have cost you. Or you called
mhm.
Europe. Yeah.
Amazing what
It's
we
like
can do with a
whatever.
computer these days. Okay, well, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to hit the stop record button, but don't
Mm,
hang up. Still a few
right.
things to say, and hopefully
Okay.
this recording is going to work out okay.
All right.
Thank you
Okay.
much, and I do appreciate it, sir.
Are you coming to the tree where there strung up a man who they say he murdered three? Strange things have happened there. No stranger would it be if we met at midnight in the hanging tree.